In today's video, I'm leaving the boundaries of my beautiful state of Utah and traveling all the way down to Arizona. We're going to be visiting a Chacoan outlier community in Arizona called Wupatki. This incredible site boasts many claims to fame, including having the remains of 53 scarlet macaws. This site is little known and many people do not visit it. I'm going to try to share just how incredibly historically significant this site was. The people of Wupatki witnessed a supernova, Halley's Comet, and a volcano just a few miles away that erupted, drove out the people, who then came back a few years later because of the rich planting opportunities. This community traded with Mexico and even had a Mesoamerican style ball court. We're going to see all these things and more on today's video, visiting Wupatki. Upon reaching the boundaries of the park, the sun had just come up and it was a beautiful opportunity to look at the rising sun through the sign, which has a T-door aperture. The T-door aperture started at Chaco Canyon. If you watch my videos, you understand this was not just a door of convenience, but a doorway with important spiritual and cultural significance. Won't get into depth in it here, but it was a powerful icon for my mind to be able to see it with the rising sun coming up through this T-door, welcoming me to Wupatki. Driving into Wupatki, it seems like a beautiful open grassland. If you see these videos, it's hard to realize how cold it is. It's well below freezing when I went to visit. But this looks like good area to cultivate crops. Imagine living here as ancient Puebloan people in the Wupatki community and its surrounding outlier communities, and all of a sudden having a volcano go off. There was no cultural reference for a volcano. This must have been truly terrifying. You can't see it at first, but as you get closer and closer to Wupatki, you can see that just beneath the grasses, there's a layer of ash and a layer of soot and a layer of volcanic rocks that spewed out of Sunset Crater. On the side of the road, you can see the layers and layers of pyroplastic flow that rain down from Sunset Crater. So I think it's good we ought to stop and take a look at this stuff itself. In this area around Wupatki, this is what we see. See this? All this ash and volcanic debris. This is what rained down from Sunset Crater, and it holds the water much better. This is far better for farming. It's more nutrient dense, and this is what the people in this area benefited from after things settled down, after Sunset Crater blew up. While I was here, I also saw a nice piece of agate. And it looks like it might have been napped, might have been flaked, but this is a good thing for making arrowheads. Stone tools, spears, things like that. But you can just see just a big old volcanic ash field, and all of this is far more nutrient dense and better for agriculture than what was here before the volcano blew up. Sunset Crater was a beautiful mountain that the people had villages and pueblos nearby. They knew nothing of volcanoes, but then one day earthquakes started, tremors from the earth. And then the earth all around began to smoke and steam as volcanic vents began to open up. There's nothing in the Native American tradition locally to have any understanding of what was about to happen. Finally, one day, Sunset Crater exploded. It blew up, hurling ash and soot and volcanic debris thousands of feet, miles up into the air. It spilled all around in the surrounding countryside. All the people in the area fled and left. Imagine weeks of volcanic eruptions that could have been seen for hundreds of miles around. A lava flow went through the area that was as deep as 100 feet deep in some places. This went on for weeks and rendered the area uninhabitable. But within a few years, people began to return. There are oral histories from the descendants of the people who fled, and they have made art depicting such things, such as the volcano itself blowing up, depicted with a macaw up above and hurling out balls of fire, the people and the animals fleeing and even dying. and even the image of a horned serpent clad with eagle feathers and macaw feathers offering protection. This went on for a very long time, but eventually things died down, and within a few years, fairly rapidly, people returned because the volcanic ash left behind offered something wonderful, a nutrient-dense soil that retained moisture and was epic for doing agriculture. We saw a huge influx in this area, and the Wupatki community exploded. Hundreds of people from all around came and built up this community and built up surrounding communities. This became a seat of power. It became a trade hub between Mexico and tribes to the further north, and this became a proper Chacoan outlier community. So let's visit this community, and now that we have this background understanding of the eruption of Sunset Crater, we know this was an important site. Let's visit it in person. Hello everybody, Ben Woodruff here. I'm here at Wupatki. Wupatki is a Chacoan great house in Arizona. This place is incredible, and more important is that it is important historically. Now, I'm up above it, and we're going to talk all about it. Down here is what I'm really excited to see. I don't know if you can see it. There is a ball court, and it's so exciting. I can't wait to tell you all about it. This whole place is incredible. Right now, if you can see over here, there was recently some water damage. There was some huge flash floods and a ton of rain, and so there's got some structures. They're doing some reinforcement work at the moment. But that doesn't change the historical significance. It might not be as entirely picturesque as one would like, but what happened here is incredible. So we're going to walk around. I'm going to be trying to use a lot of different cameras. I'm going to try to do a lot with fisheye lenses just to give you a feel for this place. I'm going to do some voiceover work where we're just going to film and then dub in later on. But I want to explain this. But again, the fact that there is a ball court down there, it's going to blow your mind when we talk about what it means. So let's go ahead and let's check out Wupatki. Well, coming up over the edge here is a beautiful view. And again, there's a bit of a platform up top here for people to look over, but that would have been there in ancient times as well. You can see that the ruins are being repaired, and right down there is a ceremonial area, and down there is the ball court. You're not going to believe the things I'm going to talk about down there, so if you're rushing through to the end, go ahead. This is a banana yucca. It's on site. These were cultivated and grown by the people here, used for making things like rope, cordage, and sandals, and I've demonstrated in other videos how to make sandals out of banana yucca. You specifically need to use banana yucca, and that's why they grew them here. So it's cool seeing this individual plant being a descendant of the actual individual plants that were used and grown and cultivated by the people who lived in this community. It's very picturesque, but it's freezing. Again, it's about 18 degrees the day I was visiting. There's a notice to watch out for reptiles and to not bother pottery. There's a lot of snakes in the area, a lot of rattlesnakes. Unfortunately for me, there were no snakes there because it's January and it's below freezing. This is an ephedra plant, grows here, and the people love to use this, similar to how we use caffeine today. It gets your heart racing and wakes you up in the morning. But again, as cold as it is, I'm amazed that 53 macaws were found here. And some archaeologists and historians have tried to make the assumption that they were bred here. But there's really only one place where macaws are known to have been bred in the Southwest, and that is in Paquime in Mexico. So the birds that were brought up here, it would have taken a lot of work to keep them warm and keep them happy. They weren't bred here. I've bred macaws, and that's not how it works. There's a T door. You can't see much of it, but you can see what's left of it. A lot of people like to speculate that T doors were to allow firewood bundles to get in, but they were actually a symbol and a declaration, outward facing, and you can see the size of this door is not a door that has anything to do with getting firewood in. There's some wooden beams in the back that are still intact, left over from the door. The nearby San Francisco mountains are the source of these timbers. There's many pine trees nearby, right by the Sunset Crater volcano. You can see the stonework here, and the masonry builds up right around the stonework. I absolutely love this aesthetic, the idea of building with the land instead of in contrast to it. It's organic, it's fluid, and it's beautiful. It's easy on the eyes, and I just wish we built this way today, where if you have a rock pile, you don't just get rid of it, you build into it and around it. So coming around this backside here, you can get a better view of some of this masonry. Now notice the nice, steep, rectangular walls, very much a Chacoan style of masonry. Very beautiful. A lot of masonry is kind of sloppy at other Pueblo communities, but Chaco Canyon and all the outlier communities in surrounding states are known for having beautiful masonry, where they would even break the individual stones to fit them in a very rectangular way. It's kind of a mix of aesthetics here, but you can see here rectangles that are also working directly with the stone. So you have heart rectangles with fluid looking stone, and they come together beautifully in an organic way. Again, there's been so much rain recently that a lot of the structures were starting to come loose, and so they're doing work right now to stabilize and dry out these, which brings up questions we'll talk about later. I love this. Again, look at this. You have the round stone, and they've just built those rectangles into it to make something usable and functional, but something that doesn't fight against the natural order, but dances that beautiful dance with it. And oh, how I wish that this is how architects thought and worked and designed and planned today. Let's go now down here to this other pueblo, and you can look back and again see that giant boulder that was built off of. Now there's piles here, and these piles used to be walls and structures and buildings that have fallen down, but you can see what's left of them. These have not been restored in any way, so it just looks like a pile of rocks if you don't know any better. But if you do know any better, you understand that right now you're walking into a room. You can see what's left of that wall there. Now there's a lot of artifacts here on the ground, so I decided to record taking a look at a few of these. And again, it's pretty special to think that there were people here who were living and having their lives. And this is a piece of nappable stone. This is called a microblade. I don't know if this is like a chert or a flint. It's not agate. It's not dense enough to be agate. But this was flaked by somebody hundreds of years ago. And you can see the handiwork. It's a percussion flake, not pressure flaked actually. So again, this took a lot of skill. I'm a flint napper, so I recognize the skill that would have taken. There's another piece. Here's a piece of ceramic pottery. It's corrugated, and those corrugated divots give it a greater surface area, so it heats up faster. We believe that that idea started off as a simple decoration, but over time they realized that it would make it so the pot would heat up faster. Here's another ceramic piece, another corrugations. Again, the corrugation's very shallow, so probably more for decoration in this case than for using it for the purposes of heating up faster. But again, somebody made this and cooked with it and lived because of it. It's a beautiful thought. There's another piece of corrugated pottery. Again, you can see those divots. It's made from a coil pot that the outside is mushed in divots. Now this is a piece of grayware. This would have been a much larger cooking pot with no fancy decorations, just for cooking large stews. And this is a rim. If you can see, this is the top of a pot where it would have had a rim around the upper edge. And that's kind of a rare piece to find. And this one has some neat color, some red on black. It's a lot more rare, using earth pigments to paint it. But again, somebody made this and created beauty. Now this wall, you can see it has a lot of structural damage. This is just from water seeping through and then its own gravity bringing it down. So this brings up an important question. What should be done in something like this? Should we just allow nature to take its course and walls to fall down? Should we stabilize them? Should we try to repair them? I really do like the idea of trying to repair and rebuild some of these ruins. I know some people are hugely against that idea, But I think these sites are more impactful if they are more intact. So what's the point? Is the point of preserving history or making history accessible to people? Or do we view the past as so sacred we can't touch it? What do people think of your future, your toilet that you have? Well, somebody like, oh, we can't do anything. We need to leave this toilet as it was from a long time ago. Or we need to leave this old stove as it was. Or will somebody clean it off and repair it? Now, take a look at this wall. You can see this wall had additions added on, and it had doorways that were filled in. So you can see those direct lines that show masonry built at different times. And I'll zoom in here in a second, and you can see the one little doorway there in the middle was filled in rather clunky fashion, just with whatever was there. So a lot of times when new rooms were added, the doorways in between were filled in that manner, and you just are trying to get the job done. Now coming around to this side, we're almost to the bottom of the lower Pueblo. And look at this giant boulder. It's just built into the masonry. And again, this is so beautiful, so aesthetically pleasing. And for the life of me, I cannot see why modern architects don't choose to build in more beautiful ways like this. It's very easy to build with the land, and it has a cozy, beautiful, welcoming appearance to it. Again, you've got harsh rectangles. Our modern buildings are harsh rectangles, but everything else, because it's built in with the land, it's lovely. Now looking up here, you can see there's another T-door. Can't get a good angle of it. I'm having to hold up my camera to look in there, but there's another outward facing T-door. So again, linking it as connected as a Chacoan outlier community. Again, this big boulder is just so cool. Okay, well now here on the edge above, behind me is the ball court. And here's the other side again, taking a look at these boulders that this masonry is just built into. And I really appreciate that. You only see this kind of masonry in Chacoan communities, and also at a place called Hovenweep in Utah, where you see we're just built right on the side. Here's some metates. These were used for grinding corn. Somebody sat here and made their dinner hundreds of years ago. Somebody was right here. Now this one is made out of volcanic stone. Again, obviously there's a sunset crater, there's a volcano nearby. Volcanic stone is very good for making manos and metates. It's a coarse stone, it's soft, it's easy to work and get it into the shape you want it. So I think it's pretty cool. Again, these beautiful doors, if you didn't know better, you would think that you were in Chaco Canyon from the size, the shape, and the masonry style of this beautiful craftsmanship. There's another door over here. So why don't we talk a little bit about this site for a second? Well, now here walking through the ruins of Wupatki, let's talk about who lived here, who was here. We know there were people here far earlier than these ruins. There were hunter-gatherers, archaic period people, and then eventually you had Puebloans living here. But what we see is in 1040 AD, there's an influx of people coming into this area and starting to build up these Pueblo communities. But then three really big things happen in the area. So 1040 AD, influx of people originally. Then there's a supernova that happens in 1054 AD. This is the Crab Nebula. It explodes, and it could be seen day or night all over the world. It's recorded in Japan, in China, in Arabian texts. We know that it was viewable day or night for weeks, and then for months it was viewable at night, and now it's reduced. It just looks like a big star now, unless you have a telescope. But that would have been huge. That would have been a sign from the heavens. That would have been very disruptive to your worldview. A few years later, 1066 AD, Halley's Comet. It's like a big old snake, a big old serpent in the sky. That comes through for weeks. So you have Halley's Comet. And then the biggie, just a few miles away, a volcano erupted here, Sunset Crater, in 1085 AD. Now, originally, they thought it was earlier, but some current dating by geologists and volcanologists have shown there was actually 1085 AD. This was massive, and it drove everybody out of the area. Everybody fled. But eventually, they started to come back in, and you had all this nutrient-dense ash that formed a slurry. It formed this type of
just like a mixture of ash and soil that retained moisture. This area is not good for farming. This made it good for farming. So you had this big influx of people. So within a 30-year span, you had supernova, Halley's Comet, and a volcano erupt. And then this place took off. This became a Chacoan great house. Now, Chaco Canyon is in New Mexico. It's a long ways away. But Chaco Canyon became a system, and they made Chacoan roads between great houses, and these great houses kind of ruled like palaces. There's a lot we know, and there's a lot we don't know. But these Chacoan great house communities, we know that this was a Chacoan outlier. It was a Chacoan community, and it probably paid deference back to Chaco Canyon. Now, one of the things we know about Chaco Canyon is the original inhabitants of Chaco Canyon were already living there, Puebloans. But then you had an influx of people coming up from Mexico. They are believed to have been Toltec or post-Toltec people, where they had class differences. There were elites, there were wealthy people, there were artisans, there were a priestly class, there were warriors, there were hunters that were set in their class. All these people came in to New Mexico and brought their ideas with them and brought their trade routes with them. So what you had is all of a sudden, you had a have and a have not. You have the wealthy people and the people who have to work and do your stuff. And you had amazing things happen. Chaco brought in, we had things like copper bells. We had things like cacao and cacao beans to make chocolate. We had live macaws that were brought in. It's pretty incredible. But there's also really bad things that happened. We know there was cannibalism as part of the Chacoan system. It wasn't widespread. It seemed to be either a control mechanism or something to do with elite and power structures. We know there were slave trades where Puebloan people were enslaved and sent back down to Mexico. It's very sad. But one of the things that was brought up was macaws. Now, macaws are incredible. Macaws, scarlet macaws from Mexico, these are tropical birds. I'm cold. It was below freezing here today. This is not the place to keep a macaw, but macaws were shipped up here. Chaco Canyon has the most macaws that we have found in Chaco Canyon proper. But outside of that, this Pueblo has the second most. 53 scarlet macaws have been found here. 53. And also 4 thick-billed parrots. Now, thick-billed parrots do live somewhat locally. Not anymore. They have reduced their range. They're now an endangered species, but they live in the mountains nearby here. But 4 thick-billed parrots and 53 scarlet macaws. That tells us something about this place. This place was a seat of power. This place had immense power and immense authority and immense trade power. To get a macaw is unheard of. In the Mimbres region, every big Chacoan outlier, every community might have 1 macaw. We'll see that the people had 1 macaw. 53, the only place that's anywhere close to that is at Pueblo Bonito in proper Chaco Canyon. That's wild, okay? So this place, again, we had a big influx, a few years after the volcano settled down. And then what happened is then people were doing their thing, but there was a mega drought from 1030 AD to 1080 AD. And so finally by 1225, this place was abandoned. This whole area goes up and down in the weather patterns. Right now, we're 25 years into a drought. We're in the second biggest drought since that 1130 AD mega drought. It's kind of crazy. But one of the other things that we see here is, I am so excited because I haven't been down to it yet, and I'm thrilled because I cannot wait to see it. There is a ball court. We're going to go see it. The ball games come up from Mesoamerica, from the Maya people and Mesoamerican peoples. There's a ball court here. We're going to check it out, and we're going to talk about how it was used.
Well, I'm going to share with you out of order. So if you look down here, down the hill, down in the distance, there's the ball court, which I went to next. But I'm showing you this instead because this is the more logical place to go. This is a large circular arena that is not a ball court, and it's unlike anything anywhere else. It's almost like an open air kiva. So we're going to look at this and we're going to discuss it because this in and of itself is a very unusual place, and I have my theories as to what it is, how it was, and how it was used. And you look at this thing is big, and it is about the size of the footprint of a great kiva, but as far as we found, it never had any rooftop whatsoever.
Now I'm here in a plaza. This structure is unusual compared to any other site in the Southwest. And I think I have a reason why that is. Because this area doesn't have kivas and it doesn't have a flat plaza. So what do I mean by that? Normally, Puebloan people always have kivas. There's no kivas at the site at all. But there are T-doors, so we know that links them to Chaco. There's also no plazas. Normally, great house communities have a plaza, kind of a area might be enclosed, and this is sort of a social area. It's an area where people can grind corn, it's where people can dance, talk, eat, whatever, play. It's a social area. This landscape does not lend itself to that. This entire landscape, it's a bunch of arroyos and washes and steep landscapes and volcanic rock. There's no big flat area to have a plaza. I think this area functioned likely as a plaza and possibly also as a great kiva. Now, I don't know what archaeological work has been done on this site, but there are stones in the center that are very similar to a great kiva. If you look at these right here, these are turned upright, and this matches the dimensions that one would have for a great kiva. So this is kind of an enigma. Again, down the way we have the ball court that we're going to go see in a minute. But this place, my brain wants to interpret both as a plaza and as a great kiva, maybe even an open air great kiva. Now the difference is, kivas have little stone columns around the edge, and the logs spiral around the inside, and they hold up, and then you come in from above from a ladder. Great kivas have 4 giant columns in the center that hold up the beams. Great kivas are enormous. The Great Kiva at Aztec, New Mexico, has been rebuilt, and so you can get a sense of what a great kiva would look like. This matches the dimensions of a great kiva, but there's a door that comes in from the side, and as far as I know, there was no evidence of any timbers up above over this. Now, could be a great kiva that was never finished, but I think this was a plaza and kind of served also as a kiva, and separate from the ball court. Because the ball court is still a place where you can have ceremonies and dances and do things. But I think this was the social area. And also, we know that great trade happened through this area from all the way up from Mexico. Maybe this is a place where people sat out their wares and would trade and buy and sell. And maybe this is where that infrastructure was set up for. We can't know for sure, but there's nothing quite like this at any other site. But again, I think it might have been a place to buy and sell. It might have been a place for ceremony, for dance, for just general social interaction. But it's big. This place is big. And this is not the ball court. And again, all around the edge, there's kind of a rim that people could sit on, or that you could place stuff on. So it seems like a functional place, a place for the people to come to. It's interesting. I can't believe I'm actually here. I've wanted to come here for decades. I'm in the Wupatki ball court. You can feel the energy here. You can feel the yells, the screams, the enthusiasm, all that went on here. We don't know all the rules. We don't know how this game was played, but you can feel it. The second I walked in here, I'm filming, right? I had to go out there to set up. You can feel an energy. You can feel a vibe in this place, different than anywhere else in these ruins. You can feel the fervor, the energy, the passion going on that happened in here almost 1,000 years ago. So let's talk about this, huh? What is a ball court? What does it mean? Is it just a game? No. We have to understand Mesoamerica in order to understand the origins of the ball game. This ball game is undoubtedly different. For one thing, the shape is different. This is a big oval. The Mesoamerican ball courts were shaped like a giant capital I. I ball courts don't make it any further north than Chihuahua, Mexico, at a place called Paquime. That is the farthest north that we find them. But we know that the ideas of ball games came up here. We know that people made balls out of local plants using the sap to make a rubber ball about the size of a tennis ball. We know they played a game. We don't know their rules. But we know the idea originally came up from Mesoamerica. This is huge. This is really big. And there's these two narrow doors on either side that are kind of V-shaped. I cannot tell you how excited I am to be here. I cannot express to you just how enthusiastic I am about being here. I mean, I will make a professional, educational video explaining this place. I can't hide it, you guys. I am so thrilled about this. So, the ancient Maya people, in their book, their scriptures called the Popol Vuh, which I spent like 7-8 years researching, deep diving into the Mayan Popol Vuh. The story of life is a ball game. And the ball game is something that is played. You see depictions of it, like if you see The Road to El Dorado, you see a depiction of it. That game is called Pocahontas, and there's different versions, there's different rules everywhere you go. People play it today, even in Mexico, and finally starting to be in the United States as well. But you know what? We don't know the rules of this game. We just know they played it. So we can guess that the people it came originally from Mesoamerica. Again, these people were trading their ideas up from Mexico. They're bringing live macaws, 53 live macaws. This is incredible. If you're having that many macaws, you're bringing up other ideas as well, like the idea of a ball game. Now that ball game is very special. It's a metaphor for the dance between life and death. It's a metaphor for the balance between battling the gods of death and you being alive. It's something that's very, very special. Gambling happened, rituals happened, in some cultures even sacrifices happened because of the ball game. So this ball court, this is very special, this is very unique, and I'm going to try to get a LiDAR scan of this place so you can get a better feel for it. And this is another very significant thing right next to the ball court. See if you can hear this. So this is a blowhole, and there's air coming up directly from the ground, cool air. This would have been amazing during the summer. You should go stick your head over the blowhole. But it's right next to the ball court, and it's quite far away from the actual Wupatki Pueblo up there. And I think there's some significance to this. We got a lot to talk about here. We've got a lot to talk about. There's a lot of unknowns, and I'm going to make a lot of inferences based off of the evidence. But we need to understand that I could be wrong, and I admit it, and that's fine, because this is a very unique site. Again, the Puebloan people were here, but then we know at the height, this was a Chacoan outlier that had so much regional power that they had 53 macaws up from Mexico. I need you to let that sink in. Watch my video. I'll link a video. Watch my video on the macaw trade. It is not easy to get a macaw up from Mexico. It's below freezing today. This is not an easy place to keep a macaw alive. Having 53 macaws that can talk, speak your language, these are sacred animals. This is wild. But we got to understand, so we have to understand some of what we know. Oh, this place is weird too, because also there's no kiva. Puebloan people normally had kivas. There are T-doors, which link this area to Chaco. So this is a Chacoan outlier. They are trading directly with Mexico. But what are their religious beliefs? Now, we know with the Puebloan people of today, there are traditions that they came up from the underworld. They came up from underground. And this blowhole over here, right over here, this blowhole has air. It's like it's breathing. It's coming up from the underworld. I cannot help but make a connection and think, okay, with this Pueblo up here on the hill, is this a reason for the site? You got this fun, it's like, yeah, you put your head in, you have this cold air, it's wonderful, but at the same time, could that have also been religious to think that, hey, this is where we came up from? We came up from here. Our ancestors came up from here to this world, to this realm. It's likely. It's likely. It's not guaranteed, but it's likely. And now we have to factor in the ball court. This ball court, where is it? It's way below the Pueblo. That's significant, I believe, and I'll tell you why in a second. We have to understand the nature of the ball game in Mesoamerica. We don't know much about the ball game in what is now the United States. We do in Mesoamerica. The Mesoamerica is a symbol of, the ball game in Mesoamerica is a symbol of us triumphing over the lords of death. There were these lords of death in the underworld, underground, and the hero twins, Hunahpu and Xbalanque, went underground. They challenged them to a ball game, and they saved their fathers because of it, who were killed. They brought them back to life, resurrected them, and they brought corn into the world, and they brought humanity into the world by beating the lords of death on the ball court. Then they came up, and we flourished as humanity. The ball game is a symbol of triumphing over death. It's a symbol of living life richly in Mesoamerica. Now, in Mesoamerica, playing the ball game was not just a game. There was gambling, and there was fun, and there was rivalry, and there was even sometimes human sacrifice. But there was also religious reenactments where people would play and dress up. Some of them would dress up as the lords of death, and they would play the ball game against, the hero twins, people portraying the hero twins. So this isn't just a sport. In Mesoamerica, this was also religion acted out. We have many times where people act out their myths. They'll dance their myths. They'll tell a story, but they'll dance it. You're playing a ceremonial ball game. So even though this place clearly had sport, and there's fun and there's competition and it's enjoyable. But there was likely also a religious aspect. And the fact that, again, this is right by that blowhole right here. And another thing I got to say, this is deeply below being overlooked by the Pueblo. Why is that significant? Well, because in Mesoamerica, we see that if there's separation of church and state, if church and state are really closely combined, the ball game is a symbol of freedom of the people, people power. And so if church and state are really close, then you'll have a temple and you'll have a ball court, one ball court right next to it, and it'll be tiny, so that you have this overlording principle of like the temple, the church is over you. Tikal, the city of Tikal, we see this very prominently, where the tallest temple at Tikal is over this tiny little ball court. By comparison, at Chichen Itza, then you have this enormous ball court that dwarfs the temple El Castillo. And there's several ball courts on the site, but the one is outrageously, it's so big that you couldn't even play there. It's insanely big. So that's a power of the people. That's showing a good separation of church and state. So the question is then, up here on this hill, it doesn't look impressive from this angle and it's falling apart. But you have this ridgetop seat of power, able to bring in 53 macaws, able to have tremendous power, tremendous authority, and it's looming over this blowhole and this ball court all the way down here. Is it possible that this is a statement of saying, hey, we have authority over you? That could be an entirely inaccurate interpretation. But because the idea of the ball game seems to have come up from Mesoamerica, then you have to also think that it's possible that some of those other traditions would also come along. Now, another thing we often see, if you go to Chichen Itza at El Castillo, the people will clap and it bounces back, it reverberates back. I hope you can hear this. When you go in, you can hear your own voice. I hope you can hear that. It's all channeling back, all that sound. That's just, it's here. It's so weird because you can hear the echo of your own voice in here. But it's still kind of magical and kind of special to experience that. Again, just imagine all the camaraderie, the rivalry, just everything that occurred right here in this space. There's something about humanity. We like spectacle. We like to encircle things, and we like to focus on things. This is something we always do. You think about in ancient Greece and ancient Rome, the big old circuses they had, and the big old structures that we've based our modern day football stadiums off of. We like to circle around, and we like to watch. We like to focus. But right here, games were had, religious ceremonies were played out, and probably reenactments of stories. And again, this is right next to that blowhole. So it's very likely that there could have been some sense of our ancestors came up from the underworld right here, right here, and they played this ball game. Among modern Puebloan tribes, they also have this tradition of the hero twins. There's even books written in Diné, Navajo, documenting these. And these hero twins are the monster hunters, and they go around slaying monsters. And in the Mayan book of scripture, the Popol Vuh, there's these hero twins, Hunahpu and Xbalanque, who go around and they slay a bunch of monsters, and then they go down to the underworld to a ball court to do battle against the lords of death. So there's a very distinct connection. You've got right over there a portal to the underworld, literally breathing up at you, and then you have a ball court right next to it. I'm taking a different culture and overlaying it over this right here. But there's so much we don't know about this site. Again, this is a people that didn't have kivas. That's unheard of in Puebloan regions. We just don't have that. It's kind of crazy. But again, this is what I see. I cannot help what I see. And what I see is a portal to the underworld that is still breathing to this day. And right next to it is a ball court. And then high up above is the ruling class. Could be wrong. But even if I'm wrong, it is worthy of noting. And people should at least be aware of those kind of connections and that kind of past. It's pretty incredible. I'm not done with this though. I've wanted to come here for decades. For 25, 26 years. I want you to think about this. Look at this hill. Look at this mound right here. People sat around here and they cheered. And you would have had people walking down from up here. You would have had the ruling class coming down with their macaws. Big old scarlet macaws, they can talk. So they're learning your language. So you're coming down here. Picture the procession coming down. Everybody's coming down for the ball game. We're going to see a ball game. But you have some elites coming down with their macaws. Ooh, maybe on their arm or maybe on a stick, And then right here in these elevated positions, right here, you would have had these priestly classes along with everybody else. Maybe everybody sat together. Maybe it was segregated. Who knows? But people sat up here and it's angled down in where you could see all the action. People were cheering. People were yelling, people were screaming, people were having an incredible riotous time here. And again, not just for recreation, but clearly there's a ritual element all throughout. Anywhere there's a ball game in the New World, this is just incredible to try to envision it here.
Wupatki was an incredible seat of power, and it traded directly back and forth with Mexico through vast trade networks. In addition to trade goods, there was also the trade of ideas, including likely religious ideas, as well as recreational ideas, including the Great Ball Games. Now, Chaco Canyon, New Mexico also traded directly with Mexico, and Wupatki, in its heyday, was a Chacoan outlier. It was influenced by other cultures, and it also influenced other cultures. Wupatki, it was a unique place in and of itself with many historical and cultural anomalies. It's an incredible and beautiful place. These people witnessed tremendous and cataclysmic things, from a volcano happening just a few miles away from their home to the formation of the Crab Nebula above their heads. This was an incredible people who lived through incredible times. It was an honor and a privilege to be able to explore the Wupatki ruins, and I appreciate you coming along with me. I hope if you ever get the chance, you will respectfully go and visit yourself and experience it just like I did. But I hope if you don't have that opportunity, that this video gave you a small glimpse into what an incredible sight this place truly is. So I appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, if you could hit subscribe, I very much appreciate it. Helps me keep this channel running. And always remember that life is a gift. So never stop learning and never stop exploring. We'll see you next time.